Welcome to Talk Wrestling here on NoDQ.com. Thank you all for watching as you do every week. Greatly appreciate the support. Got a lot of questions this week. I'm so happy I got the support from you guys. I love it. I love it. Got a lot of response on the question thread on Twitter. So I think I'm going to stick with Twitter from now on. Instagram doesn't seem to generate a whole lot of response anymore, even though I don't do it very often anyway. So it's probably my fault. Usually is my fault around here, isn't it? Anyway, let's get into your questions. First one today comes from a fellow Kings fan. Go Kings go. Mike X270 on Twitter. Been debating this with myself all day at work. Does Finn Balor have the best entrance in wrestling? It's hard to debate it. Either way, when he comes out as Finn Balor, just Finn Balor, and the crowd gets into the whole entrance with the ahs and the whole thing, and his presence itself, especially in NXT, but even now that he's debuted on Raw and has had a couple matches on Raw and comes out for promos and whatnot, he commands an instant presence on stage and in the ring, and that is exactly what you are supposed to do as a WWE superstar. Immediately capture the attention of the audience, period. That's your job, and Finn Balor does that. Now, the Demon entrance is always varying, never the same thing twice. I like that he changed it up a lot in NXT. We did Jack the Ripper one for London. We did a bunch of different things, and I loved it. And I think that was very, very well done. I hope that if the Demon does indeed surface at SummerSlam in Brooklyn on the 21st, that we see a whole new thing we've never seen before when it comes to the entrance of the Demon King, if you will, Finn Balor, hopefully. These next two are from Dave Payne at SmartMark420, a great guy to talk to on Twitter. I talk to him all the time on direct message, and he's got a great insight for the business, and I think he's a really awesome contributor to the show. He's got a couple of good questions. First one says, do you think it was AJ Styles' best promo in WWE last week, and do you think he has solidified his spot as the top heel after that? The problem with calling AJ the top heel is that he's in a land of top baby faces, so he's kind of like the default heel. I mean, you've got Dolph Ziggler, who has the support of the crowd and is challenging for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. You've got Dean Ambrose, who has the support of the crowd and is WWE Champion going into SummerSlam. And then you've got John Cena, who the people can't decide if they'll ever hate him, but it's the hip thing to beat up John Cena, right? It's a hip thing to do. So AJ's getting cheered going against Cena. But what I liked about that promo last week, and I mentioned this on After the Bell last week, is that both guys, AJ especially, started out kind of hesitant during that segment, and by the end, they had both delivered instant classic stuff. Those guys really turn it up a notch as we head toward the Barclays Center. And I hope that this week on SmackDown, hopefully both guys under the same roof this time, because they were overseas this week in New Zealand and Australia for the tour, so they both missed SmackDown. So hopefully both of them back in the States, ready for SummerSlam weekend. They will deliver a huge go-home show, because it's easily the best feud on SmackDown right now. It just is. And Dave's other question, why is WWE so predictable, booking two baby faces to tag team before they go one-on-one? It does seem like you do that a lot, doesn't it? They really make it a point to make sure. I mean, this week on SmackDown, you had Ziggler and Ambrose teaming up to face the Wyatts, and they lost. No, they won. Did they win? I watched it like at 1 o'clock in the morning the other day, so I really don't remember. Isn't that awful? Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know why they do that. It's weird, but I guess it's just to generate storyline interest and to kind of keep things flowing and to make things interesting in the eyes of the booking committee. But for me, that's kind of stupid. I don't like it at all. Let's see. That has been answered. J-Dubs about the SmackDown tag titles, so we'll glaze over that. My buddy Greg Cherry, as of August 6th, who was my pick to win the Royal Rumble. He asked a question August 6th, so I'm answering it today. If I look into my... Do I have a ball here? I don't have a ball or anything, do I? Anyway. Into my crystal ball. probably, it looks like, the rumor is that Lesnar's going to challenge the winner of, Lesnar's going to be challenging the WWE champion, the the Universal champion at the Royal Rumble. So he won't win the Royal Rumble again. That's been a rumor that he was going to win the Rumble again and go in and challenge for the title at WrestleMania like he did, like he competed for 2 years ago now. God, there's so many guys that could easily win the Rumble with their storylines where they're. I'm gonna say right here as I sit here in front of this camera, my pick to win the Rumble. If Rumble happened tomorrow, I would go with whoever loses the Universal Championship match at SummerSlam, either Finn Balor or Seth Rollins. That's my choice. Okay, I have two questions that kind of are similar, so I'm going to ask them both. One is from Daniel Lynch Daniel 4. He says, will SummerSlam be better than WrestleMania 32? And then as I scroll down from, oh God, poor Sam in your last name, dude, I'm sorry. Sam Swanpinboon. Wow. I can't even say that. You're going to have to hooked on phonics that name for me, Sam, because I'm terrible. Which WWE show will be better, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn or WWE SummerSlam? You know, I look at both cards, and compared to last year, there's a huge difference in the comparison from last year. Because last year, I was so, to steal a phrase from the Hype Bros, I was so hyped about NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. You had Sasha and Bayley, you had Finn and Kevin Owens, you had so many unbelievable matches in that card. Whereas SummerSlam, once you got away from the main event area, it was like, okay, this year you've got 6 matches signed for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, you've got 9 matches signed for SummerSlam, and every single match on both cards means something. So as I sit here now, I really don't think either one's better than the other. I think it's going to be a dead heat until they're both in the books. And then we look back and go, okay, which one was better? So I can't honestly say which one's going to be better because they're both going to be really freaking good if they stick to what they have on paper because they both look unbelievable. Next one is from Jordan at Wrestling6798. What is your favorite looking WWE title belt? Well, the answer is a little bit different. It's not a WWE title belt. It's a WWF title belt. And the reason it's my favorite is because it was the WWF Championship when I was growing up in the 90s, going into 1998 anyway, when I started watching 1990. So for 8 years, this belt, the Winged Eagle, symbolized the WWF Championship, the championship in professional wrestling. So this has always been my favorite design of a championship belt. I wish they would bring this back for the Universal Championship, maybe WWE Universal or Universal down here or something. Just something, you know. It would be awesome. But the thing is, this says wrestling. They can't have wrestling because wrestling's a bad word in WWE, even though it's in the name. But close second, and I mean like, you see how close it is? See how close it is right there? Yeah. Is the big gold belt, the NWA WCW Championship. I didn't discover that belt until much, much later because when I started watching WCW was when they had the alternate belt when Lex Luger, Sting, Ron Simmons, Vader, and finally Ric Flair were WCW champion. I recognized that belt, which I still want to own, by the way. I really do. I had the figure belt of it, which is awesome. But the big gold belt is the standard bearer in wrestling now. It's universally known. Athletes in professional sports still seek that belt, or the current WWE Championship now that Triple H sent them out to every freaking buddy, it seems. But the big gold belt was the symbol of excellence, as Tully Blanchard would say, doing just like this, symbol of excellence. It just was. It was awesome. Great belt. But my favorite is the Winged Eagle, the WWF Championship. Let's see. These two are from longtime contributor Alex Boney at Boney SRL. Got to know what you thought about the comments Conor McGregor made about WWE and the wrestlers. Conor McGregor's a piece of shit. He's an asshole, and I can't stand him. I can't stand his personality. I can't stand the fact that he thinks he's Ric Flair when he's doing interviews and dresses like Ric Flair like he's doing interviews. He thinks he's tough shit. He thinks he's hot shit, and he's not. And this is me sitting in front of a camera, internet geek, calling out Conor McGregor like I'm some badass. I'm not. I just don't like him. I think he's an asshole. And I think he's a blight on the sport of mixed martial arts. He makes money for you, Dana White. That's just super. You know what? So did Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar turned his shit around, turned his attitude around. Ronda Rousey made money, and look where it got her. Got her jaw handed to her by Holly Holm in an unbelievable upset. Someday, somewhere, somebody's going to hand Conor McGregor his butt. Again. Hopefully Nate Diaz. And, or whatever, whoever he's fighting next. Hopefully it's that guy. And hopefully somebody just shuts him up for good. Because if he's doing this just to kind of build toward a WWE debut, then I hope the wrestlers hand him his ass too. Because what an unbelievable douchebag. He just totally caught out the entire industry as a whole and get ridiculed for it, and then don't even own up to your shit. Just make it worse for yourself by compounding the insult on Twitter. You take to Twitter to compound the insult. You're an idiot, and you're an asshole. Can't stand him. Will never like him. No respect whatsoever. And Alex wants to know my thoughts on Becky Lynch getting buried each week. I wouldn't call her getting buried, because you know what? She's on TV every week. The first two things with Eva Marie weren't burials. They were just embarrassing for the women's division as a whole, because Eva Marie is an embarrassment as a whole. Or a hoe, whatever you want to call it. And, but she had a really competitive match with Alexa this week. I mentioned after the bell that the women's division really stood out this week for me on SmackDown. Both matches were good, and Becky may just be the first SmackDown Women's Champion that they crown, and I hope she is, because she definitely deserves it. She's, as much as I love my girl Natalya, and I will forever hold a special place in my heart for Natty, I think Becky Lynch is probably the best female competitor on SmackDown right now. She is the one who they're going to kind of get behind, I hope, because she's good. Let's see here. I've got several from the man who I guess I insulted his Twitter name because it was so different from his real name, but he explained it to me and it made sense. So, and I still owe him a belt. I owe Kyle Allen a no DQ championship belt. I'll be honest with you, Kyle. I have not had the funds to do anything. Everything I've done lately has been paid for by other people, and I greatly appreciate that. But I have money coming in September. And hopefully I'll be down at the post office and put your belt in the mail and Connick's belt, which is going all the way to the United Kingdom or Ireland, wherever the hell it's going, in the international mail. I will hopefully do that in September. So I apologize for the delay, Kyle, but here are your questions. Why did it take over 30 years to charge Jimmy Snuka? That is a good... I probably should have done my research before I answer these questions, shouldn't I? I don't know. I know that it was never a closed case or a cold case. It was always an open file because they were trying to gather information, and sometimes shit like that just takes a while. It's not like it's OJ where no matter what that jury said, it was blatantly obvious what happened there in June of '94. I don't care if that makes me an asshole. You people block me for saying that. I don't give a shit because it's true. He killed those two people. He did it and got away with it. And still went to jail because he robbed his stuff back from somebody else. So he's a total idiot. He literally got away with murder twice and still in jail for some other stupid shit. He's an idiot. He's worse than Conor McGregor. Easily. But with Snuka, there was a lot of mystery and a lot of mitigating circumstances that didn't allow the case to proceed as fast as OJ's did, let's say, or fast as like Robert Blake or any of these other, celebrity cases or whatever. It took that long, and I don't understand why. Sometimes the justice system is not swift a lot, but it more often than not seeks out the truth, and now he's just too far gone in the head to get the truth resolved for the family of the lady. Does not testing part-time wrestlers like The Rock, Triple H, Lesnar, Undertaker send a bad message? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I think if you work for the E, you work for the E. You should get tested like anybody else. If it's a random drug test and you're there that day, you get pinged. Simple as that. These guys are professional athletes doing competitive choreography, if you will. Can't even say the fucking word. That's how tired I am. But they are athletes and they are humans, and humans make mistakes. And if you're in a sport or entertainment field where you can't make those kind of mistakes, you should have to be held accountable. Have fans lost their excitement for Dolph Ziggler? Kyle asks. It seems that way, but we'll see what happens at SummerSlam. Hopefully, if he wins the championship or if he has a solid showing, maybe the E will get behind him again like they have in the last few weeks. Will WWE ever completely push Finn Balor and other international wrestlers? Probably not. I like them too. I really would like them too. Because Finn Balor is great. Becky Lynch is great. Sheamus is good. I don't particularly like Sheamus, but he is good. Alberto is not really international, but Mexico is not a United States state. It's a country, international country. So he's unbelievable. Alberto is great. The guy from China that they're bringing up through developmental, he's supposedly really good. All these people in the Cruiserweight Classic have been unbelievable. These Cruiserweights are just wowing me. I can't get over the Ibushi-Alexander match. I've watched it every day this week since I was with you guys after the bell. It's just that good of a match. It's so, so good. But they probably won't ever fully push the international guys because Vince likes homegrown WWE talent, and he's a proud patriot. So, we the people. Although Jack can't get a push. Let's see. This is from Ricky Lawson. Hey, Jeff, will there ever be a payoff for who attacked Hideo Itami, or WWE pretending like it didn't happen? It seems like they're pretending it didn't happen because you got Hideo Itami, who's been gone for over a year, just now coming back. And you've got the guy who probably was the one who's going to be attacking, being Kevin Owens. Not too long after that happened, got called up to the main roster and has been pushed to the moon ever since. So for them to go back and revisit that would be kind of redundant at this point. There's no real need for it. And Itami doesn't need to be held back by some dipshit storyline now that he's back after over a year of being gone. He needs to get in there, kick ass, and go after the championship. Whoever she's champion after Brooklyn needs to watch out for Hideo Itami because he is that good. He's been that good. He's just been that freaking injured. That's the problem. All right, I love this question because I'm gonna be an asshole again. Johnny Goldsmith at Johnny Goldsmith 2. Your thoughts on Road Warrior Animals' comments about Sasha Banks being shoved down our throat? I will never understand these guys that have been out of the business for a while, even ones that have family in the business or have family in sports or whatever. Road Warrior Animals' closest tie to the business at this point in this day and age is the fact that his brother is married to the Bella's mother. Okay? And the Bellas aren't even involved right now. Nikki's still recovering from injury, and Bree is married to Brian. So, technically, he's an in-law of the SmackDown general manager. Good for him. Be do. But his opinions on Sasha Banks are totally invalid. Totally not credible. Sasha Banks has been pushed exactly the way she should have been. The fact that she was held back for so long is the reason why she's been up in the front of the storylines every single week, because they held her back and held her back and held her back to keep her ready for SummerSlam and for the challenge against Charlotte back a few weeks ago. So, sorry, Animal, you're wrong. You're just wrong. Let's see what we got here. This is from Mr. Yuck. How long before Bryan and Foley are replaced as GM? Who would you see filling the roles next? Hopefully not for a while. Hopefully they actually stay consistent and actually stick with something for a change. I will say, this week on SmackDown and Talking Smack, I did not like the way they presented Bryan at all. I think that he came off as a real prick toward Raw and a real jerk toward some of the talents on Raw. I think that it was done in very poor taste. I think that he could have done a lot better with that. And that's not Bryan Danielson. That's more like evil Daniel Bryan that was picking on AJ Lee. That's stupid hokey shit. That's ridiculous. Don't do that anymore, Bryan, please. Let's see. Let's do one more. Here we go. Eric Cruz at Eric_Cruz. With the NFL Monday Night Football coming back, should WWE have waited to do the brand split in January or done it earlier this year? No. They needed to do something now. They needed to do something to generate interest and generate ratings and make people want to watch every week. The writing is not allowing for that because, like I said on either After the Bell or this show earlier, the writing style on WWE it was on After the Bell, on mainstream WWE TV, Raw and SmackDown has been atrocious, just atrocious. And if they're gonna compete with the NFL on Monday nights, I mean, granted, Monday Night Football is on ESPN, not ABC anymore, so there's not as much competition, but it's still on cable. So they need to do something to really give Raw a shot in the arm and make people want to tune away from football. Because remember, football is big right now. The Rams, baby, moved home where they belong. And I'm going to a game this weekend. I'm going to see them play the Cowboys. Go Cowboys. Go Cowboys. I'll root for the Cowboys even though I'm an LA guy because I like Dallas. Anyway, that's it for Talk Wrestling this week. We will see you all next week with more After the Bell. Hopefully WWE TV will be better to review next week. I won't be so pissy with you guys. And we'll have more Talk Wrestling right here next week. We'll see you then.